Hi, and welcome to Stamp with Ginny. Today I'm going to share with you this fun shutter card to welcome a baby. I've used the Woolly Friends bundle of products for this project, so let me set this aside and I'll show you how to get started. Okay, I've used my mask and mounted my images for the lamb onto a clear block. You can see my video that talks about the tip and how to do this. I'll include it on the PDF. I'm going to bring in my punch and make sure I've got it in the orientation so the paper slips in easily. And then I'm going to ink my image up with the smoky slate and stamp. There we go. Once I have that done, I'm going to bring in my little fluff for his head, line it up. There's 2 bumps on the top, and add that extra color to the little hair, like so. And then I'm going to bring in the bell and add it to the bell. I'm ready to punch this out now, so I'm going to slip this into my punch, line it up, and punch. And I've got a perfectly punched out image here of my little lamb. I'm not going to use the bow, so I can set that to the side along with the punch. Next I can bring in my sentiment piece, and I'm going to put this on an angle so it's a diamond, and I'm going to stamp the Welcome Cutie here on the right hand side like so, and lift. I've got my stamping done and we're ready to assemble. Quickly, before I assemble my little lamb, I'm going to bring in my Stampin' Blends. I've got my my light smoky slate here, so I'm going to do the ribbon, and then I'm going to bring in the light bubble bath, and I'm going to add some cheeks here and add a swatch of color here to his ears like so, just quickly. And of course I can do his little nose also, and I'm ready to assemble. So I'm going to bring in my adhesive, but first I want to see exactly where I want my bell. I can put his little face on this side, in the center, or even this side, and I think I'm going to add his little face here on the right. So I want to slide this bell in place, make sure I'm happy with the location, and then using my finger as a marking point for a little touch of glue. Oops, that's way too much. So I'm going to take some of that off with another piece of cardstock, like so, just to get rid of some, because I just needed a little dot. If you'd rather, you could use a mini glue dot. And then I'm ready to add my head, and as you can see, that extra glue, it's not going to show, so we're in good shape. And adhere that down. And I can adhere down my sentiment panel. And you can kind of use this plaid to line things up and make sure you've got them centered along with your grid paper. Next I'm going to bring in my little 1/4 inch strips here, and I'm going to pick one side and add it to the card front panel, and I'm just going to run a very light line of adhesive down and butt it up against that cardstock and adhere. At this point I can cut it off. That'll keep my work surface a little cleaner and the adhesive from causing any problems. Next I'm going to add another strip here down like so, and if this one's long enough you can actually use this one, which it is, so I'm going to add a little adhesive here again and utilize that adhesive that I had on there earlier if it's still moist. And bump it up against that diamond, and then I'm ready to move on to the next one. So I'm going to bring in another strip here, add adhesive, butt it up against that edge and go down and then trim. And I oopsed a little bit here, so I'm going to lift this piece of cardstock up quickly and cut it straight. I should have butted it up against the end like so. And then finally I'm going to add another cardstock strip here to this last leg, simply by butting it up against that and then trimming the rest of the pieces. I love cardstock. It's easy to fix mistakes when we make them, which is part of the appeal of crafting with paper. So there we go. We've got our shutter done and we're ready to add our little lamb. And I'm going to bring my lamb over here and add it on the left. And I'm going to add some lift to this lamb. But first I want to adhere this to the card front. So I'm going to bring my card front in here and fold it on the score line and then use a strong adhesive, since this is a specialty paper, it's kind of thick, and adhere it down right in the center. My little lamb I'm going to flip over, bring in my mini dimensionals because they'll tuck in here a little easier. Backings and adhere him in place like so. Next I'm going to bring in the inside panel. I'm not going to stamp this right now since this is a baby card. I'm simply going to adhere this strip of Designer Series paper down to the bottom edge to bring in that color that's on the front. And at this point I can adhere it down or simply set it in the card for later when I'm ready to sign it. So there you go, a sweet little baby card created with the Woolly Friends bundle. This bundle is a lot of fun to work with and has some wonderful all-occasion sentiments in addition to the baby's greeting. And of course, if you'd like any of these products, feel free to stop by my online store. You can get there from my blog, Stamp with Jini. Thanks for joining me.